we've got our latest event in Hockey Ultimate Team, the Draft Gems event. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step the best way to collect all of the rewards from this event in the shortest amount of time possible. Now, Draft Gems follows up one of the best events that we've ever had in Hockey Ultimate Team, the Hut Millennium event. It keeps a lot of those core foundations that made that event so good, but they dial back on it a little bit. So let's get right into it. All right, so if you missed the Hut Millennium event, I'll give you a quick refresher because it works very similar. If you collect all 9 of the 86 overall Draft Gem Master items, you can trade them in for a 96 overall Master Set player that will come out in week 2. This card will be upgradable to 99 overall. So just like the Hut Millennium event, this event has us collecting all of the Master Set players for a shot at a powered up card, much like we had with Sundin and Pronger, which became 2 of the best cards in the game. Huge win that they are following this format. Now let's take a look at the 5 Week 1 Master Set players from the Draft Gems event. We'll kick things off with Connor Hellebuyck. Now, these cards can get up to 98 overall, meaning that their tiers are the most expensive that we've ever had. To get a card from 86 all the way up to 98, it will require 97 Draft Gems collectibles, so very, very costly. On top of it costing 97 Draft Gems collectibles, we're also at a point where collectibles are the most expensive they've really ever been to make, and that's simply because, well, there's fewer people playing the game, there's 4 separate markets, and the people that are playing are trying to actually make these players. So right now, each collectible, if you can get them for under 6,000 coins, that's actually roughly the best value currently, when throughout the whole year, 5,000 was pretty much the going rate for a collectible for any event. Now, that means that at 6,000 per event collectible, you're looking at about 582,000 coins in value to get them all the way up to their 98. So very, very expensive. However, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to show you how to take full advantage of all the objectives and the sets and everything like that in just a little bit. So to kick things off, we've got the 98 Connor Hellebuyck, 6'4", 207. No lie, I have been looking for my sort of end game goaltender for the knotted dollars. I've been using the 86 overall Justice Noonan. Haven't really upgraded him. He's been okay to like just under an 80% save percentage. Goaltenders in this game have been the most broken they've ever been. I've talked about that ad nauseum throughout the year. So if I'm being real with you guys, I actually really like Connor Hellebuyck as a player. He is probably going to be my end-game goaltender unless they release an absolute banger in the next event or in week 2. I really don't think you need any of the abilities on any goaltender because, like I said, the animations of goaltenders are broken. However, this is a 6'4" goaltender that has 99 everything in terms of attributes at 98 overall that you can slowly upgrade throughout the event. He is probably going to be my final goaltender this year on my no money spent team. Now, I do like them having a draft event. It makes sense. The draft is next week, which I'm really excited for. I will be in Nashville for that draft. Super excited. However, they went with the Draft Gems event, meaning that it's players that have gone on to have great careers that were drafted, lower in their draft year. Connor Hellebuyck went in the 5th round, so that makes total sense as a goaltender. But some of these other picks, while they make sense for the Draft Gems event, there's a reason why the Hut Millennium event was so good, and that was because the Master Set players were all super popular, and I'll show you what I mean. So next up, we have the 98 John Klingberg. He was drafted in the 5th round as well in 2010 by Dallas. So again, nitpicking here, but obviously this is an Anaheim Ducks John Klingberg who wasn't drafted by them and legitimately just signed a 1-year deal to be on that team. Now, I'm probably being overly critical, but these are the little things that I think take away from some of the events that we've had in NHL, whereas the Millennium event just kind of made sense. All the card art was amazing. All the selections made sense on top of a great foundation of how the event worked. This John Klingberg as a player, like in-game, also comes off of, 2 of the best right-handed defensemen in the game being released in Rob Blake and Adam Foote. So John Klingberg, 6'3", 190, is great size, and he has great skating, 99 acceleration, 97 speed. You could flip that to be speed instead of acceleration, but he's got no defensive abilities. Now, obviously, this is meant for him to be an offensive defenseman, which makes sense. And again, if you don't care about, competitive play and the meta and all of that, then it really doesn't matter. But if you are someone who is still trying to take that very seriously, you're really not going to activate anything on John Klingberg, and Rob Blake and Adam Foote are far better options. So again, if I'm nitpicking, that's just one of the smaller things I've had with this event compared to the last. Esa Lindell from the Dallas Stars is up next. So you've got 2 defensemen drafted by the Dallas Stars in this event in the 3rd round of the 2012 draft. So 3rd round is still half decent. However, this is a much more impactful defenseman in-game. 6'3", 220 pounds. He's got 98 speed or acceleration, and then essentially 99 everything else. as well as Gold Shutdown, one of the better defensive abilities. I've talked about this a lot, that Stick 'em Up, I think, on smaller players doesn't really have the same impact because poke-checking just with 99 offensive awareness players doesn't have the same impact as it does early on. But when you have someone that's over 6'2", he just has a much longer reach, so Stick 'em Up is a very viable option. I think he's a much better play in-game than, let's say, Niedermeyer from the last event. So again, if you are concerned with competitive play, this is a very, very good card. Next up, we've got a perfect selection for the Draft Gems event in the 98 Patrick Hornqvist. He was literally drafted last, 230th overall in the 2005 NHL entry draft, and he has gone on to have a fantastic career. Again, if we're nitpicking, he was drafted by the Nashville Predators, not the Florida Panthers. On top of that, he won his Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I'm not really sure what they were doing with the card art here. I'm not sure why they chose to go this route. So just, again, small things that compared to the last event, not the same quality. 5'11", 189, so he's a smaller player. Has gold truculence, which is really nice defensively. Big tipper, total eclipse, close quarters, and no contest, which could be a really fun build. However, as you guys know, at this stage of the game, a 5'11 player without unstoppable force has no shot against Pronger, Meebus, Rob Blake, Foot, any of those guys. So that is the one downfall. But again, you shouldn't care about competitive play, but I do need to mention that for the competitive players out there. However, again, I think just like the Florida Panthers part of this just makes it hit home a little bit less. And then lastly, we've got Kirill Kaprizov, who was drafted by the Minnesota Wild in the 5th round in 2015, which obviously became one of the best picks of the last decade. 5'10", 202, gets up to 98 overall, so for anyone that has Team of the Season, Kirill Kaprizov, you're laughing. He's got Gold Elite Edges, Seeing Eye, Unstoppable Force, Schneip, and Close Quarters. So I've talked about this a lot. Unstoppable Force and Close Quarters is one of the best offensive combos that you can get in this game, and he is 99 everything. The only way they could have made this card better is if they swapped Unstoppable Force and Elite Edge. And I want to bring up a point that one of my viewers commented on in my last video when I was kind of heavily critical of Elite Edges, that maybe I was underselling it a little bit, because I had mentioned that as the game goes along, I think Elite Edges has less and less value because it really jacks up their agility rating. And once everyone gets to 99 agility, you lose the impact that it has, obviously, in the later stages of the game. It is still a very good ability when paired with Unstoppable Force. I just think that if you were to put the two side by side, there is no way that you would take Elite Edges over Unstoppable Force at this stage of the game, or really any stage of the game. But that doesn't take away from this card being fantastic. So if you are a Kirill Kaprizov fan, you're laughing. You've got a 99 overall player, essentially. Okay, now let's talk about taking advantage of all the free stuff that they are giving out in this event. Like I mentioned, it is following the same format of the Hut Millennium event. If you go over to objectives, go down to the Draft Gems objective list, and you will see a full list of objectives that don't have the same impact from the Hut Millennium event, but it's pretty close. And again, I'm going to show you how to take full advantage of everything that they offer here. So as you can see, I've already gotten a head start on this event. And one of the first things that you can complete is 25 games with one or more Draft Gems cards in Hut Champs, Rivals, or Squad Battles. And the rewards that you are going to receive are 2 85 overall Draft Gems player pack. And these are important, and I'm going to show you why. So if you go down to the Draft Gems event items, you will see 5 85 overall players. You'll find Tyson Barrie, Adam Henrique, Brad Marchand, Brett Pesce, as well as Vincent Trocheck. Now, why these cards specifically are important is because they offer some trade-in value. So once you complete this first objective, you will end up with 2 of the 85 overall draft items. It's the same for everyone. So the other 3 are able to be obtained for free. If you go over to challenges and then the Draft Gems challenges into Group 1, and you will find after completing the 4th challenge, you will get an 85 overall Draft Gems player. Complete the 5th challenge, and you will actually get 2 85 overall Draft Gems players. These will all be set players, meaning that you will acquire all 5 of these 85 overall players. So the reason why this is important is if you go to the Draft Gem event sets, go over to the 3rd option here, and you will find a random choice Draft Day Tilt set, where you collect Draft Gem players and trade them for a Draft Day card. Again, I'll show you what the Draft Day cards are in just a moment. If you click into here, you will see that you need all 5 individual 85 overall players, as well as any 92 overall and above Draft Gem player. And if you trade all of this in, you will get a random choice pack, one of 2, from any of the draft day tilt cards. And again, I'll show you what those are in just a little bit. However, to take full advantage of this event, you don't actually want to trade these in. You want to put them in your lineup. So if you can acquire all 5, and again, it's very easy to do so, these all count towards your games played. And if you watch my Hut Millennium event, you know that you can go into squad battles, put it on rookie mode, play for 2-minute periods, and then replay against that same opponent so you can get 8 games every refresh. This will allow you to complete these objectives very quickly. Now, at 105 games is where things get interesting. You get a Draft Gems player item choice pack. You get one at 105 as well as 200. Now, this is a pretty solid pack, much like the Hut Millennium event, because the 85 cards are not included in this pack, nor are the Master Set players, meaning that you can only acquire, at the time of this recording, these set players from this pack. One would be the 92 Travis Boyd, who has Unstoppable Force, so he's actually somewhat usable. You can also get the 93 overall Patrick Maroon, 6'3", 234. His skating is a little rough, but because he's so big, it really doesn't matter. The 94 Brendan Gallagher, gold Unstoppable Force, 93 speed, that'll play. The 95 Steve Larmer, he's got 95 acceleration, 93 speed, gold elite edges, and then a slew of just kind of very mid superstar abilities. The 96 Connor Garland, who is one of the more underrated players in the league, in my opinion. I loved watching him in Arizona. He always used to roast the Sharks. He's got gold close quarters, silver Unstoppable Force, 97 speed, 95 acceleration. This is a very, very viable card. The 96 Cam Atkinson, 5'8", gold Unstoppable Force. I love that they made these cards a little bit more usable with gold Unstoppable Force, for example, and them being smaller, but they didn't do it with Hornquist. The 97 Troy Terry, 95 speed, 94 acceleration. And then we've got the 97 Joe Pavelski, who obviously I love. He's got gold big rig, no contest, quick draw, close quarters, as well as big tipper. But for whatever reason, they just refuse to help out his skating. So it's going to be capped at 93 overall with no synergies. Now, all of these cards will be the ones that are available in those 2 packs that you can earn by completing the objectives. Now, the remainder of the objectives that you can complete are really going to offer various rewards that aren't nearly as important for you completing this event. At 310, you'll get a power-up collectible. 370, you will also get another power-up collectible, some coins throughout, and then at 10 daily rewards, you will get a 1 of 9 Draft Gems 86 overall power-up master item player pack, so you can select from any of the 86 overall players that you do not have for the event. When you complete all of the objectives, you will get another 86 overall power-up master item pack, as well as 21 Draft Gems event collectibles that you can use for, obviously, players in this event. So while this is still great in terms of free rewards from playing the game that they offer, like what was available in the Millennium event, in the Millennium event, we got a free 97 overall master item choice pack when you completed all the objectives. So, like I mentioned in the intro, they dialed back the rewards just a little bit. And I'll be honest, if they keep the draft gems, like if that is as low as it's going to go in terms of rewards and the format stayed the same, I'm still completely okay with it, because if you use all of the rewards that you get from this in the correct manner, you can essentially get a free master set player all the way upgraded, and I'm going to show you how. So the first thing that I would do is the same thing that we did in the Hut Millennium event, and that is try to get all of the 86 overall master set players as quick as possible. So if you do the 5 collectible trade-in set that will give you 2 random players, you can still do the dashboard method that I showed you guys all throughout that past event. For anyone that doesn't know, you throw 5 draft gem collectibles in here, you will get a choice pack 1 of 2. You can do 3 of these, and you're all but guaranteed to get a selection of 3 different master set players. But what you want to do is open a pack and then dashboard out of the game. The contents of that pack will not change, so that allows you to pick a different card from each pack. What I did was I did 3 of these, got 3 different selections, and then I ponied up and paid for 2 more of the master sets so that I guaranteed myself getting all 5 of the master set players. So that is the first thing that I would do. It cost me a total of 29 collectibles. You will earn all of those back and more. So find the rewards available to you that can allow you to get all those master set players. Next up, you just want to play games with those master set players in your lineup. So Hornqvist and Kaprizov go on the 4th line. The 3rd pairing of Klingberg and Lindell, who actually don't have terrible skating. Esa Lindell's a little slow, but like Klingberg you can get away with on your 3rd pairing, no problem. And then in net, you can throw Hellebuck as your backup goalie. That gets you all 5. And the reason why that's important is every game you play, you are getting 5 games completed towards those game plays objectives. Now, once you get to 25, what you can do is then add those players in from the 85 overall pack. So, for example, you can throw Adam Henrique in here. He counts towards the games played, as well as Brett Pesce. Now, obviously, this is where your team is going to take a pretty big hit competitively, so I probably wouldn't go into Rivals or Hut Champs, but this is where I would switch over to Squad Battles and again, just grind out your squad battles games with these guys in your lineup. Once you finish those first 25, I would go and do the Draft Gems collectible challenges, and if you can finish all 5, they don't take very long, they're 2-minute periods. For the final one, you will get 3 more. That means that after essentially 5 games of playing with all 5 of the Master Set players in your lineup, you've gotten the 2 from completing that objective, and then if you do these challenges, you've got 5 total players on top of the 5 Master Set players you've made for a total of 10 that can go into your lineup, which drastically reduces the amount of games played you need to finish the games played objective. Now, to be honest, you really don't need to complete all of the objectives in a big hurry, like 370. After 310, you're getting just power-up collectibles, so that might not even be important to you, but at least completing 200. And again, with 10 players in your lineup, that's only going to take you 20 games. You can do the 2-minute periods on squad battles if you want. I know it's very boring, but that'll get it done very quickly. The reason why you want to get these 2 player item choice packs is because you are guaranteed a 93 overall. So remember what I said, those choice packs do not include the Master Set players or the 85 overall event players. Now, if you really want to take full advantage of these objectives, I would probably hold on to those packs and see what future event cards come out, because they might release some really, really good cards that'll be in the player pool. However, they will also release some lower overalls like the 92 Travis Boyd. As it stands right now, if you were to cash in those 2 packs, at minimum, you are getting the 93 Patrick Maroon. If you pulled Travis Boyd and Patrick Maroon, the 2 lowest overalls, you are still guaranteeing yourself a 93 overall. So with 2 93 overall players from those 2 packs, you could use them in your lineup, or you can go to the Draft Gem event sets or Hut Millennium if you still want to complete those Master Set players. Go all the way down to the end, and you're guaranteeing yourself 22 event collectibles right there, which is a large chunk of change. Now, once you've completed the games played objectives, you could also, instead of trading in those 85 overall players for the draft day tilt players, which again I will show you in just a little bit, you can trade in all 5 of those 85 overall players for 10 more Draft Gems collectibles, bringing your total to 32 for free just from the objectives. So the reason why this is all important is because if you don't have any interest in any of these Master Set player items, and if we're being real, again, Hellebuyck is probably the most interesting outside of Lindell, Kaprizov as well, if you don't have stacked left wingers already. You're really waiting for that 96 overall player that can get up to a 99. But with all of those event collectibles that you got from those objectives, you could cash those in for the other 4 86 overall player items so that you have all 9 of the MSPs available to you to trade into the 96 overall. Now let's talk about the draft day tilt player items. Really cool feature, just not executed in the best way possible. So they released rookie players that will be in the draft coming up this Tuesday, and how they will work is depending on where they get drafted, they will receive an overall boost based on where they get picked. So first overall is going to get a +6, so if you get that 93 Connor Bedard, that is going to be a 99 for you. For everyone that has his team of the season, you're laughing. That's a free 99 on Tuesday. If they go between 2nd and 5th overall, they'll get a +4 boost. 5th through 10th, they will get a +3. 11th through 20th, a +2, and 21st through 32nd, they will get a +1. The reason why this isn't as executed as best as it possibly could be is because they don't have the player rights to some of the highest overall players, and they're not in Hockey Ultimate Team. Adam Fantilli is one, and Leo Carlsson is in the game, but for some reason didn't get a Draft Gems card. But a lot of the top-end picks just aren't here. So for example, based off of scouting reports and draft day analysis, the only real players that have a shot at going anywhere outside of 1st overall and Connor Bedard locking that up, 2nd through 5th, none of these guys are going to go 2nd through 5th. That I feel like we can all agree on. Michkov, Will Smith, Leo Carlsson, Adam Fantilli. I don't see how any of these players are going to go here, and really the only other one might be David Reinbacher, and he's not in this list either. So then you've got 5 through 10, and the only real player that has a legitimate shot is probably Zach Benson. Maybe Braden Yeager or Danielson, but that's really it. And then there's a couple players that probably will go in 11th to 20th. Quentin Musty, who I got to see a lot in the OHL. Callum Ritchie as well. Barlow, a lot of OHL guys, which I like to see. They might go +2 overall. But if you go and take a look at their actual cards, none of them are really super exciting. Colby Barlow at 6'1" does have unstoppable force. And again, this is only going to be for players that really care about trying to get better cards for your team. Please take your favorite players if you have one. Connor Bedard, this one is why I would not invest at all in in this set because Connor Bedard's draft day tilt card has gold elite edges, no unstoppable force, nothing like that. He will get tossed around, and I can attest to this because I've used my team of the season one without unstoppable force, and it's brutal. So even at 99, he is going to play awful at this stage of the game unless you play a lot of offline, and then by all means go grab him. And it is for that reason why I would not recommend to do the set. Again, this is all if you are interested in the most value. If you go to the Draft Gem sets, this one right here costs you all 5 of the 85 overall players, plus one of your 92 plus players that you will pull in those 2 packs. But again, even if you got the bare minimum, you could trade all of these in for a lot more collectibles that would allow you to upgrade some of your Master Set players, or you could go back and upgrade Hut Millennium event players. I also want to touch on this set. So you've got the Hut Millennium player item trade-in set. Again, I love that they are taking advantage of all of the free stuff they gave you and then allowing you to trade it in for the current event content. Love that. However, the 91 plus Hut Millennium event player item, you got 3 of these packs in the prior event. If you guys remember from the No Money Spent team that I have, I actually pulled 3 of the best. I got Keith Tkachuk, Zach Parise, and Brian Campbell. But if you got lower overall players, you could throw them in here, and you will get a Draft Gems player item choice pack. Not worth it at all, because if you just traded in, even if they were 91 overall players, you just traded them in individually for event collectibles, you are going to get far more value out of them, so I would definitely not recommend doing this set at all. However, doing all of those objectives in that order will allow you to complete the content as fast as possible, so that you can acquire all of the things needed to get the new 96 that will come out essentially for free in week 2. Let me know if you have any other questions regarding this event. I'll be happy to help out, and subscribe if you haven't already, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.